Hi there, my name is Melissa Bergstrom. I'm a third grade teacher at Russell Knight Elementary School in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And when I first started this distance learning at home, I felt like, you know what? I've been teaching 20 years. I have a background in special education and regular education. I've got this. And my co-teacher and I quickly realized after 2 weeks that all of our knowledge of Google Classroom and all the strategies that we've used were helpful, but that there was still so much more out there that we could use and we could learn to help our students. So this workshop today is tools for supporting students through Google Classroom. And really, I'm just going to share with you some things that I've already been using in my real classroom at my school. And I'm also going to share with you a lot of things that I've learned since I've been home here in my virtual classroom at my house. And I hope that these will be able to help you when you're working in your Google Classroom with your students, and maybe even you can share some of them with your colleagues as well and help them out. We're all on this journey together, right? So we are going to have 3 objectives for our workshop today. The first objective is how to modify assignments in Google Docs. And the second objective that we'll talk about is how to organize assignments on Google Classroom and some of the different features that are on there that will help you out. And the final thing we'll talk about are some different online tools that we can use to help reach all learners. So let's go ahead and get started with our first objective. Okay, so we're going to be talking about how to modify assignments. And I'm going to start just by showing you some pretty simple assignments that we've modified for our students. This first assignment that we have is a choice board, and we still do spelling every week. And one thing that I think is really beneficial to help reach all learners is to give them choice. I'm sure you've heard of UDL. As teachers, we love our acronyms. And UDL, if you're not familiar, stands for Universal Design for Learning. And with UDL, we really just want to be able to reach all of our learners, and part of that is giving them choice in what they're doing. And just because they're learning from home doesn't mean they can't have choice, right? So here is a simple choice board for spelling. There's 9 different activities, and we are just asking them to do 2 of them. We ask that they highlight the activities that they choose, and then down here on this page is where they show their work. Now, if students want to do it on paper, they can always take a picture and upload it. And sometimes students choose, this is a popular one, news report. They write a news report using all of their spelling words, and then they create a broadcast video on Seesaw. And if you're not familiar with Seesaw, I highly recommend checking that out. It's a free website to teachers, and it's a really fun and interactive website for students to use. So this is one example of a UDL type activity that you could use with your students. And really, choice boards can be used with any type of activity. It doesn't just have to be spelling. This is an example of an assignment. It's called Close Reading Questions. Now for this one, our students read a Scholastic article called Can Cows Change the Climate? And they had 3 questions that they had to answer. Now when we did a similar activity at the very beginning of our distance learning, even though I put the directions in bold, I have my title in large print in blue, and I have my remember to restate, and you'll notice the word restate is red, italicized, and underlined. And in the beginning, I would just post an assignment, maybe not use all the colors, maybe not bold and underline. And in the classroom, you have the ability to go over and review. Maybe you even have students highlight it while you're reading the directions in your classroom. But one thing we have to remember is that we're not in the classroom, we're at home, and we have to do as much as we can to support these students. So for this assignment, we did restate in red and italicized and underline. Now I noticed after I gave this the first time that I still had several students who had trouble with this type of assignment. So for some of my students, I modified it by making a copy of this document. You just do File, Make a Copy. And whenever I make a copy, I use the same title, but I just put MV after it, just so I can remember this is a modified version. And this is the modified version. So take a look and see what you notice. How is this one different from the first one? So you've probably noticed that underneath of each question, there is some writing or some typing. So the first question, why has Earth's temperature been rising faster lately? I did a full restate for them. Earth's temperature has been rising faster lately because, and they just need to finish the sentence with the answer. For number 2, summarize why cows are gassy. Yes, the article was about why cows were gassy, and the students found that kind of funny. And for this one, I said the reason why cows, so I started the restate, but they would need to use the words are gassy because. And then for the third one, I left out the restate. So you can see there's a gradual release of support here. I did a full support restate for number 1. Number 2 has a partial restate, and number 3, they're trying to restate on their own. I'm going to show you one more example of a modified assignment in a Google document. This was another language arts assignment, and for this one, they read a Storyworks magazine article, and they had to answer an open-ended question. So let's read the question together. Why does the author describe the chicken nugget as an American classic? Answer in 2 well-organized paragraphs using at least 2 examples from the text Nugget Nation to support your response. Remember to use race. Now, you might be familiar with race or racer or something similar. It simply means restate, answer, cite text, and explain. And it's our formula that we use to help students answer any type of extended response or open-ended question. Now, in the classroom, when we do this, we might have a graphic organizer and a communicator. Maybe we would have reviewed it together, have a chart hanging somewhere. And for a lot of students, they can just look at this, remember race, and just go ahead and start typing their response. But there are students that need a little bit more support. So I would make a copy of this assignment, and I would actually add an organizer to the document, and it would look like this. So you can see this document looks very different from the first one. It provides paragraph 1 and paragraph 2. It has the race acronym down here in the first column. It tells what each letter of race stands for. And for this one, we even went so far as to give sentence starters to help the students get their thoughts organized. And if you think about it, for a lot of students, just staring at this blank page can be quite overwhelming. They just don't know where to start. So there's a big difference between this one and this one here that has the organizer and provides students with that extra support that some of them might need. So those are 3 examples of how to modify assignments in a Google document. Now let's talk about how we put these documents onto Google Classroom. So I'm going to jump over to my sample class. And you might be familiar with these first few steps. So you go to your classwork tab at the top, and you create a new assignment. And for this one, I'll go ahead and I'll use our close reading questions. Can cows change the climate? So I'll title my assignment, Can Cows Change the Climate? Close reading questions. And then you'll type a brief description. Open the Google document and type your answers for each question. Okay. And then you come down here to the Add button. You click Google Drive. And then you just find your document. You can type in close reading questions and then it will come right up. So this one you can see it says MV. That tells me this is my modified version. I'll want to make sure that I make a copy for each student. And this is the important part. This is where you can differentiate. So I will come up here to all students. And right now I just have a short class of 3 sample students, which I've used my children's names. But what you will do is you'll probably have a longer list of students and you'll see when we first clicked, it had all the students highlighted, but you'll just click this box at the top and it will unclick them. And then you'll just choose the students that you want to give the modified version to. So you'll just find their name, however many there are. And then you can change your point value. I like to do 4 points because we use a 4-point rubric. You'll pick your due date. I make all of my assignments due on Friday. That way there's some flexibility for students and parents working at home. And then topic is a way to organize the assignments so that your students can find them easily. Some teachers like to organize their topics by subject area. I do mine by the week that we're working on. So I'll choose week of May 4th. And then if you'd like to attach a rubric, that option is there. Now, the last thing I want to show you up here in the top right corner next to assign is this little drop down arrow. I like to schedule my assignments. I like to schedule them on Sunday night so that all of the assignments can go out the day that they're due during that week. So you can click on this, find the day of the week. Let's say this one is going to be assigned on Thursday, and then set the time that you want the assignment to go. Then click schedule. And then to do another version of the same one, you just go through the same process. You click create and you pull up the document that you want and you select the students that you want it to go to. Now in the students feed, they will only see the assignments assigned to them and not their classmates. And over here on the left, you can see the topics. Now, this is my sample class I just created, so I don't have a lot of topics. But in my Google Classroom, you would see each of the weeks that we've been doing distance learning so far. Okay, so the next thing that I would like to show you is some of our online tools that we can use to help our students. And the first one I want to show you is a Google extension called Talk and Comment. So I'm going to go back to my sample class and I'm just going to open up an assignment that I have here for my pretend students. Now, I really like Talk and Comment for a few reasons. One reason is that it's faster to talk than it is to type. So it's really beneficial to teachers. It's also great if you're giving the same comment to multiple students. You can just speak it once and then you can copy and paste it into different documents. And the last thing is it's easier for students. I mean, let's face it, the kids miss seeing us. They miss hearing our voices. And I think they're much more engaged, much more apt to listen. And for some students, they might even understand better listening to a comment rather than reading one. So if I wanted to make a comment for this particular assignment, this is an independent reading summary. I can come over here. This is at the top of the right-hand side of my screen are where all my Google extensions are. And this one here with the little blue and yellow microphone, this is called Talk and Comment. You can turn it off if you're not using it, and you can just keep it on if you're commenting and giving feedback to student work. Our feedback to students is so important right now. They're not in the classroom, they're not hearing us, they're not talking with us, and it's really important for them to know that we're reading their work that they're putting so much time into. So once you have your talk and comment on, you'll just hover over it and click it. And right away when I click this, you'll see a green arrow and a red X pop up. And right away, you'll also see it with the timer going. So I'll do a quick comment and then I'll click the green arrow again to stop it. Ian, I love the way that you used character names in your summary today. You did a great job rereading your work, making sure that you used capitals and periods. Keep up the great work. And then you just click that green arrow to stop. And when you wait a few seconds, you'll see a link pop up on your screen. Mine might be taking a little bit longer. But you'll see a link pop up on your screen, and then you'll copy and paste that link. There we go. Sometimes my computer's a little slow. If you've been doing distance learning, you've probably experienced the same thing from time to time. So here's your link. It pops right up. You just click OK. It's copied, and then you can go to your private comments, or you can comment directly on the document and just paste it right in there and post. And right on my screen, it shows up with a web address, but when my students receive it, they'll see like a little arrow, and then once they click it, they'll be able to listen to it. So that's a really great tool, another free Google Chrome extension that you can try out. Now, the last thing that I want to show you is what I'm using right now. This is Loom. You might have heard of it. It's very similar to Screencastify. Now, most of us teachers have probably used Loom or Screencastify to record ourselves doing a lesson. But I think one thing that we forget about often is how important it is for us to review and go over assignments with students. I mean, if you think about it, when you're in the classroom, you would never just pass out a piece of paper or, put something up on the smart TV or the blackboard and say, do this, right? You would always, pass it out. You would maybe have a copy of it on the smart TV, or you would read it over, answer any questions, but we're not there with students to be able to do that. I mean, every once in a while we have some opportunities to do some live chats with them, but I think it's very important that we take advantage of these tools to be able to set students up for success. So one thing that I use Loom for, I'm going to hop over to my Loom, is to go over assignments before students tackle them, so to speak. In our district, we use a math program called Eureka Math. And we also use this online website called Edulastic for an assessment tool. So we had our students taking a Module 6 Topic A quiz. And this is a video that I recorded showing the students how to do the assignment. Loom is really easy. You see this blue button over here in the top right called New Video. You just click that and it's really easy. It pops up and then you just start recording your video. I'm not going to do that right now because that will stop this video, which I don't want to do. But I'm going to go ahead and play just the first minute of this tutorial that I did and kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. So here we go.
Hi guys, I am just going to take a minute and walk you through your Edulastic Module 6 Topic A quiz. So there's 5 questions. This is question number 1. You can see here there is a picture graph, and then there's just 4 different questions that you have to answer. This first one is a drop down, so you'll choose one of these 3 answers. And then for the other ones, you'll just click in the box and type your answer there. Okay? For question number 2, this has a table at the top with some information. It's talking about butterflies raised by the 3rd graders. and they give you two different numbers and the total. So you'll have to do some math to figure out this missing number of butterflies here. And then down here it says, find the number of California dog-faced butterflies that were raised. That's where you're filling in that blank. And then use the data in the table to complete the picture graph. So here is your drag drop values. So you'll take these and you'll drag however many that you need to match this type of butterfly. Okay, and don't forget to pay close attention to this key or the value of a butterfly. Okay, so for the next one, number 3.
Okay.
Here
So you kind of get the hang of it, right? You can use this with any assignment that you're doing, but it's just so helpful to students for you to be able to walk them through something before they're starting it. And not all students might need it, but at least there's the option and it's there for them. Once you create a video, it's really easy. You just click copy the link, and then when you're back in your Google Classroom, you can just make an announcement, right? Or even on your stream, you can just share something with your class and just copy the link into there for them. All right, I have one last tool that I would like to share with you. And this is another tool I was not using when I first started distance learning, but in the last 2 to 3 weeks, it's become probably one of the most helpful and most valuable tools to communicate with our students, especially those who might be having a little bit of trouble. At the top of this Google Classroom page, you'll see where it says Meet link. Now, to get this on your screen, it's really easy. You come up here to the settings bar in the top right, and when you scroll down, you'll see this little icon here and it says Meet. And mine is already generated, but all you do is click Generate Link. And when you click on that, it just pops right up and it goes right to your home page of your Google Classroom. And I always keep it visible to students. The great thing about this is that students can't get onto the link unless a teacher is already on there. Now, we're lucky we have 2 teachers because we're an inclusion class. So between the 2 of us, one of us can be on there pretty quickly. And we try to have both of us on there at the same time whenever we're working with students. But if you think about it, when you're working with students online, a lot of times they'll type in this stream here that they're confused with an assignment or they can't log into a web page that you're asking them to use. And one thing that is so easy, instead of just trying to comment back and forth and figure out, you can just say to them, hop on our Google Meet link and I'll meet you in the room in 2 minutes. And once you just click on this link, it's safe and secure only for you and the students in your class. Nobody else can get in there. This will pop up on your screen and then you'll just click Join Now and it will take you into the room. Now, once you're in here, the students can join also, and you might be familiar with Zoom. It has a lot of the same features as Zoom. You can share your screen with students. Your students can share their screen with you, and it's really helpful to try and troubleshoot or work through an assignment with them. When you're done, you just X out or leave the call. And that's the one thing you have to make sure is that the students all leave the call before you do. You should always be the last one off. Okay, so that is pretty much a summary of a lot of the tools that we have been using in our classroom to help our students. And like I said, when I first started about almost 2 months ago, I realized there was so much out there that I didn't know. And one of the things we have to remember as teachers, we are always learning and growing just like our students. And if you have information and knowledge, don't be afraid to share it with somebody else. That's why I'm on here today, just sharing what I know with you guys, because we need to be there and we need to support each other through these challenging times and look at it as an opportunity to grow. There's always something positive to find. One last thing I want to share with you, if you have any questions about this presentation or want to reach out to me, here is my email. Feel free to email me and I would be happy to help you through learning any of these tools that I've shared with you today. So best of luck to you and your students, and I wish you well.